Hello boys and girls, and welcome back to Anadialog, the dialogue on analog music reproduction. Today we are not actually going to focus on hi-fi, but on archaeology. Yes, a lot of you want to know what I do. Why is I disappeared for 5-6 weeks? What am I doing? What's the other part of my life? So I'm sure a lot of you are going to turn this off. But since so many wrote me asking me to know a little bit more of excavation, what I do in the field, I do want to finally share something more with you guys. Because I don't usually do this, okay? Only if someone asks me. And you did, as I said, many did. So I think it's fair, after all these years, to share a little bit more what I am doing, who I am, what I do, okay? Plus, there's a little surprise at the end. Are you ready? Let's start. Okay, guys, as most of you know, I have just came back from Iraq, where I started a new archaeological project together with my colleagues, obviously. Why is this taking place? Because that is what I do for a living. That is my real job, archaeology. I am actually a PhD. I have earned my doctorate. First I graduated here in Florence, and then I went to Reading in the UK, where I specialized, and I did my PhD there on Near Eastern archaeology. This was already in the 15 years ago, something like that. And then slowly I delved in archaeological projects, research, publications, and things like that. That's why sometimes in the comments I stress that I know 2 or 3 things on how to do research, okay? Because it's not that easy and not, let's say, just something that anybody can do. You need some training. Clearly, I am a field completely detached from hi-fi. That's true. Nevertheless, as I said, the way you process things, the scientific approach method is the same, okay? But apart from that. So, why am I specialized in Near Eastern archaeology? Well, very simple. That was the trigger that won me over when I decided what to study. I'm based in Italy. I was greatly fascinated by the classic civilization, so meaning Roman and Greeks, but mainly the Etruscans. But in the end, I wanted to understand more the Near East, meaning like the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Hittites. There's so many cultures that don't have a precise, we could say, framing like happens for the Roman culture, the Greek culture, other cultures that have those standards, like in the ceramic, in the writing, in a lot of aspects of their culture, in the architecture, in the Near East, in Mesopotamia, or as you're supposed to say now, West Asia. There are so many nuances that each site is going to tell you a new story. Yeah, there are trends, but things change a lot. And also, the interesting fact is that the Near East, which is huge, as you know, I've never heard about the Fertile Crescent. Well, Mesopotamia, mainly the stretch of land between the Tigris and the Euphrates, mainly we could say modern Iraq, but also part of Turkey, Syria, Iran, and the roundabouts, okay? I am mainly specialized in late Bronze Age, early Iron Age communities, nomadic communities of the Caucasus, because I touched also that part, like meaning Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, Eastern Anatolia, meaning Turkey, but also the interaction with the Assyrian Empire during its various phases. Okay, it sounds a little bit complex, but I mean, it's just a typical segment of this huge history that is the Near East. So, what have I been doing up until now? Finally, with my study center, me together with my colleague, we own, we could say, we lead, we direct a study center which does also research scientific events, courses clearly, also together with a university here in Florence. So we organize also courses for the study abroad students mainly, also Italian students, but clearly we have several research projects. And this new project, we finally started our own project in Iraq, because usually we're always collaborating with other universities, other institutions. This is going to be 100% that connected to my study center, which is Camnis. Maybe you've seen the acronym on the t-shirts and things like that, which stands for the Center for Ancient Mediterranean and Near Eastern Studies. So, what are we doing there? Well, we signed an agreement with the Kurdish state in Erbil, so the northern part of Iraq, to focus on the research mainly called a period called the Ninevite Five. Now, this is going to be something that only specialized people know. In any case, a culture that spans around, we could say, the passage from the 4th and the 3rd millennium BC. So more than 5,000 years ago. And that is mainly the specialization of my colleague. And that is why this time we decided to focus on his interest. I'm more on a nomadic part and the communities that developed, as I said before, in another area. But there are some connections, and especially Assyria. We are in the heartland of Assyria there. So in the future, we're probably going to explore also those other topics, because we are going to investigate three sites. We started this year, just a small little tell. A tell is an artificial mound where you have this stratification of cultures, one after the other. Sometimes there are periods of abandonment, sometimes things are destroyed, sometimes they are rebuilt. So a lot of things are going on in that stratification, and that is where an archaeologist really has to come in and, from a technical point of view, understand what is happening. But as I always say, that is the most important thing, the most interesting thing of all, understanding what is happening in a context. Because all the fantastic objects you see in a museum, if you don't know where they come from, who produced them, the purpose, meaning the context, the physical context, but also the cultural context, they don't mean anything. And that is why when looters steal, grab, excavate improperly and sell abroad or whatever they do, or just like ISIS smashes everything, you're losing a lot of information and just reducing a piece or an artifact to its own artistic or artisanal property, characteristics, and that's it. Because all the data, the associated data, which could be historical, which could be from different points of view, like we analyze the pollen, we analyze the bones, we analyze the macro sedimentation of layers, the soil, we do some flotations, we analyze the seeds, we do radiocarbon dating. We do a lot of things to understand most pieces of the puzzle, to understand better the puzzle of that specific site, and obviously the connections with the environment, the other sites around, etc. So it's complex, but it's something connected to the reconstruction of our past, something that has always greatly fascinated me. History, stories. I love stories in any form, and hence that is why my love for understanding the past, but also to, as you know, the future, technology. I like tech. I like also, as you can see, the two things may overlap, as someone said, with my vintage interest in hi-fi. Absolutely. In any case, clearly we don't have these strict connections between hi-fi and archaeology, but there is this passion to understand the history of things in general, any type, from music, musicians, technology, all the way down to our common history, we could say. So, I think that's enough. That's a lot of information. I don't want to be too long, but I want to leave you with a little surprise, as I mentioned in the beginning. Actually, I was always on the fence to say this, because it's always a little, I don't know how things are going to be received. But in any case, I do want to tell you that we at Camnis have another channel, YouTube channel. And the videos in English, most of them are done by me. So, if you want to see and understand a little bit more, what am I doing? what are the different projects, or simply just a take on certain topics of our past, of archaeology in general, I'm going to put here below in the video description a link to the channel, the Camnis Studio channel, where you can explore a little more videos and understand, I think, a little bit better what I am doing. Well, hopefully in the future, not hopefully, for sure, in the future we're going to go back to our hi-fi, my main passion. But once again, I am glad to be sharing this with you, since you were so kind and so interested in asking, and truly interested in learning a little bit more. I think this was the correct way to do things, and in order to say thank you for all these years for following me. Okay, back to hi-fi, back to music. Thank you again for watching, and remember that music is born analog. Bye. Hey there, if you are enjoying my content, please consider to subscribe. It's free, and it will help the channel tremendously. Also, don't forget to explore my prior videos. There's something for everyone. Welcome to the audiophile community.